And to round out all this Siege of Winterfell talk going into this new season, the one that is probably most useful to people, and I probably could have cut to the chase with, is this chart I have made going over how I would personally set up every possible type of account in Siege of Winterfell. Now, a lot of this is probably obvious through the troop type specific tier list videos I made for the mono refinement setups at least, but the active sequencing of every single lineup is deliberately done, and actives are deliberately balanced across the three lineups to keep high value actives in each of the chief commander positions also. So most of this is just very visual and very obvious. I don't need to really talk through it too much. But there are a few things that I can probably point out and go into a bit more. So you'll notice, first of all, what is bolded is what I would recommend having your Lord in for the Lord stats. For these mono setups, you'll want just mono badges for whatever troop type you're running. For all the mono refinement lineups, if you can't see what's bolded properly for whatever reason, it's just the top line in this chart. So for every full whale lineup, this is assuming max account realistically, it is Daenerys, Layla, Sanel. The sequencing of these three is very deliberate. Layla in Cav obviously is very good about passive stats and Cav attack ability, but for non-Cav lineups, she'll only really be providing the reproc effect for Daenerys. You could potentially argue for cutting Layla in the non-Cav lineups. I don't think that's hugely controversial if you can get in high-value stats instead of her. But I still think if you can get a Daenerys active to reproc, especially off a Sanel active as well, it will be more than worth it. So Sanel at gold, she will cause your next active to do an increased 180% damage, and this buff lasts 8 seconds, so it will last to your next active casting. You'll go from 1000 rage down to 300, and then have to stack back up to 1000. So you only need to stack 700 rage. You'll be able to do that within the 8 seconds. If it truly increases the Daenerys active by 180% damage, then the 6000 base scaling of a gold Daenerys will surpass 16,000% scaling, which is just so absurd compared to anything else in the game mode. You will truly be able to just 1v20 people that are smaller than you if you get Sanel Dany procs off in AoEs. It's truly ridiculous, to be honest. The only debatable point to not run your Lord stats with this Dany, Layla, Sanel march is Baelish, Jaime, Dana for Spear. This three synergize together ridiculously, to be honest. They all have passive abilities that all synergize with each other's passive abilities, so Dana will increase spear attack when crits are done. Jaime will cause crits off normal attacks at a 30% chance, and Baelish will cause normal attacks to have a 40% chance to reproc. So Baelish will mean more crits means more spear attack from Dana, more spear attack from Dana means harder hitting normal attacks. Baelish's active is increasing normal attacks by 180%. They'll then be exaggerated even further by Dana's spear attack passive, and so on and so on and so on. So everything here works incredibly when paired together, potentially even more so than Dany, Layla, Sanel. Everything here multiplies each other's effectiveness so much. The only real issue here is you're a spear lineup without Mengo, so you could just be chasing stuff for like 60 minutes and not be able to do anything. That would be my only worry of putting the Lord bonus here. And practically, it could realistically be better to cut something here in the spear lineup for Mengo. And you'll see this in all the mid-spender and free-to-play lineups I have. in every single Lord March except the mid-spender Lord March for Cav, I have Mengo because of how much value I think there is in the practical advantages of that additional movement speed. Because if you're not attacking, you're doing 0 damage. So even if there's a higher value alternative in his spot, the distance closing element in stuff like package runs or just getting back into position out of base, it brings so much value. If you're chasing a package runner with Mengo Cav, it will literally be impossible to catch up to him without Mengo yourself. So I would just prepare to have Mengo somewhere. And if you're having to chase down a package runner with that, you're going to want your Lord stats hitting into him to get him down quicker. So that's why I have Mengo in basically everything. I don't have Mengo listed in the whale builds, but that's more so because theoretically there are just significantly better alternatives than him, because you have so many options and the whale builds have so much synergy available to them, which the mid-spenders don't. So it just doesn't really fit a chart format to put Mengo with whale builds. But if it was me and I had a max account, I would probably be running Mengo with my Lord March, no matter what, in every scenario, to be honest. Just because of how good I think that movement speed is. If it was March speed and it was taking your 200% March speed up to 230%, no. But when you look at the March times, it literally cuts the time down by 30%. And in terms of damage uptime, that is unquantifiable in terms of how much it will add to your eliminations and your escape potential and your package running and everything. Other things of note, I have Sansa, particularly in free-to-play formations, as the chief commander, even in off-builds. So I have Sansa here in the third lineup for Cav, Inf, and Spear. This is because her active ability is just so much better than every other free-to-play active ability. And even though she won't be providing stats, you'll be able to support your alliance a lot through this. Julien is also a pretty common pick as the chief commander in these mid-spender lineups. This is assuming that his debuff affects all lineups that are attacking the target it's applied to. I know there has been some debate over whether this is actually the case. Someone in my alliance asked this Siege of Winterfell or 2 ago, and this was what the VIP told them. So I'm going to interpret it as it is a debuff on the enemy, and everyone attacking that lineup will benefit from that. Even if it's just you attacking that target, you're getting plus 40% normal attack damage on 3 marches, so it's effectively 120% normal attack damage increase. So I think his active is very high in terms of value. In my active tier list, I realistically undersold him. I should have put him a tier higher. I don't even remember where I put him, but he should have been a bit better than I listed there. Patelo, Rhea, Salma are the best actives for Spear, Inf, and Cav, respectively. You'll see this in the mid-spender mixed refinement setups I have here. You have Rhea, Salma, Patelo as the chief commanders for each of these lines. I have Mengo in each of the Spear marches here in the mixed refinement ones because Spear is the slowest unit type, so the theory here is you want to group the march times of all 3 of your marches as best as possible, because if you don't, you'll have your Cav run miles ahead of your Inf will be miles ahead of your Spear, and you'll be sat there waiting for everything to group up before you can properly go in. I'm sure there'll be some things in here that I have overlooked and I've messed up, especially when it comes to the active sequencing of like free-to-play formations of something. There's probably something you can pick holes in, but as a general overview, a general recommendation, this is how I would set up accounts myself. You're free to just screenshot this right now, steal it for your alliance, Discord, whatever. If you think this is nonsense and you have better ideas, you might. This is all just my opinion, my theories on things. I seem to be developing a weird reputation where people think I'm a lot smarter than I really am about the game, I feel like. Just because I can somewhat sound like I have all the answers in 10-minute edited videos, I don't. So this is very much just my own opinion, and there is for sure going to be things that I've overlooked or not thought of myself in terms of combinations and whatnot. But yeah, all in all, this is how I would advise people to set up in Siege of Winterfell.